Hey, I'm Dr. Patrick Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. And people ask me all the time, Doc, how do you make an herbal tea? And honestly, it's not rocket science. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to take you from branch to brew and teach you exactly how to make a cup of something really wonderful that'll be really good for you. Let's go. All right, so here we go. Here is my dear friend, Elaeagnus angustifolia, Russian olive, one of the biggest pest invasive tree species in North America. Just a disaster, everybody hates it, but it's fantastic medicine for joint pain. Now, don't take this if you're pregnant, don't take it if you're nursing, and don't take any herb if you're taking a lot of medications without talking to your doctor, okay? But let's look at what we're gonna do. So I want the leaf. The leaf's the medicine. You can also use the berries, you can use the flowers, but the leaves are great. They're the easiest thing to collect. So, all right, we're just gonna gather some leaves here. How are you doing today, buddy? You wanna help my knees feel better? Russian olive is not gonna suffer at all from a little bit of leaf harvest. They're really tough little rascals. And you gotta be a little careful because they're covered with thorns. They've got thorns all over the place. And, you know, interestingly, there's a tradition in herbalism called the law of signatures. And the law of signatures says that the plants are trying to tell us what they're good for. It's like God put little hints in everything so we could kind of know what to use stuff for. Well, a plant with thorns all over him is saying, I hurt everywhere. So if you hurt everywhere, he's the guy. Let's go make some tea. Okay, so we're all set. Let's make some tea. Now, the first thing that you need to do is you need to put some water in a teapot. And I used a sink for that. We'll do a separate video on turning on the sink and put it, because that's a little more high tech. But just for the basics here, put some water in there. And people always ask, how much water, how much herb? And that's a great question. The typical dose for an adult of a dry powdered herb is about a teaspoon, right? And I don't mean like a teaspoon flattened off, just a teaspoon of stuff. Life's too short for perfect measurement. Rounded teaspoon's great for an adult. If you're using fresh material like we are, you know, this isn't dried and powdered, these are fresh leaves. I'm gonna use twice that much. And just because I happen to know things, because I do it all day for 30 years, I know that if I dried and ground about that many leaves, that's about a dose, okay? A handful of leaves for the most part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our teapot on our little magic teapot heater upper, and we're not gonna boil the leaves. We're not gonna cook the herbs, all right? Heat is really hard on medicine. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat this up, and it's already boiling because I started it a minute ago. But as soon as that's boiling, if we have the amount of herb figured out, how much water do we need? Well, how much water do you want to drink? The water's not the medicine, right? And so most people are going to have a cup or two of water to drink, right? So a rounded teaspoon or so for an adult in a cup or two of water, that makes a great tea. If you're going to make more tea, you know, maybe you're fighting a cold and you want to take it all day or for a couple of days, that's fine. But don't make more than 2 or 3 days worth of tea, because the shelf life on tea once you make it is only 2 or 3 days. Okay, so don't make a huge 2-week batch of your herbal medicine as a tea, because it'll just be so weak and worthless at day 5 that it won't be worth doing. Okay, so shelf life in the fridge is 2 or 3 days. I think our water's hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that handful of herbs and I'm going to just put them right in that hot boiling water, right? That's about right. You notice I'm measuring this very, very carefully on this particular plant. Anyway, and the other thing is, I'm going to take that very hot lid and I'm going to put it back on. And why am I going to do that? It's because a lot of the medicinal constituents in a plant are essential volatile oils, right? They evaporate really fast, way faster than water. And so if you don't put a lid on it and you throw them in hot boiling water, those oils are poof and gone. So we want to keep all that in there. And I've turned the heat off, And if this was on a stove, I'd take it off the, if it was an electric stove, I'd take it off that burner, um, and just let the hot water do the work. We don't want to cook the herbs, um, because again, heat can be very detrimental to a lot of the valuable chemistry in medicinal plants. Now, there is a technique that they call decoction, where they take the plants and they boil them for a half an hour or an hour, And some plants could care less about that because their constituents, their medicinal properties are not volatile. Elderberry could care less. A lot of plants could care less if you cook them for a while. And the reason that they did that was usually because they were trying to get medicine out of roots or out of bark. All right. And roots and bark are more dense, and so it takes longer for the water to, pull the medicine out. Honestly, if people 100 years ago had had a Vitamix blender and could powder their dried herbs, they never would have invented decoction. All right. That technique is called decoction, where you boil the stuff for a long time to get the medicine out of it. There's no reason on earth to do that with a powdered herb. Boil the water, turn it off, throw the herbs in, put a lid on it, and when it's cool enough to drink, it's ready to go. So there you go. That's a cup of Russian olive tea, and I'll drink that, and in, 10 or 15 minutes, my knees will feel fantastic. I'm Doc Jones from the Homegrown Herbalist School of Botanical Medicine. If you'd like to learn more about making medicine, we have a long series of lessons on everything from teas to tinctures to glycerites to lotions and salves and poultices and anything else you can think of that has ever been done with an herb. So if you'd like to learn more, we'd love to join you on that journey. I'm Doc Jones. Thanks for listening.